So, Jess, we're doing a deep cut this week.
We sure are.
A real deep cut. Like, I'm sure some people might not even know this song exists.
Yeah.
But are you ready? Did you listen to the song?
No, I didn't have time.
You didn't have time? It's like 20 seconds long.
Too long. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sadie Hawkins Pod.
Hello. You ready to get into the zone, Jessica?
I am ready to get into the zone, the AutoZone.
This is a random song.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone is aware of this. This is probably one of the deepest cuts on our song list.
I was not aware of it until I saw it on the song list, and I'm like, oh, what is this?
So, yeah, when we started this podcast, I put together a spreadsheet of every song that we plan to cover. And I started manually by myself going through every album and cutting out songs that duplicate on various albums. And then I, went through and figured out EPs that had individual songs and other places like that. And then there's a Reddit thread of rare Relient K material and just like rare songs that nobody seems to fully talk about all the time. Like, My Cape is Stuck in a Phone Booth. That's a song that's out there on YouTube. There aren't a lot of these weird, like, super under the radar, like, real rarities for Relient K, but this is one of them. And so we put it on the list. We'll talk about, does it really constitute a Relient K song? Almost like we talked about with I Hate Christmas Parties in a way, but we'll talk about that. So this was a song.
Well, one is a cover of a car part store jingle, and the other is an original song.
Right. And we talked about it last week, but we were going to do this song last week, and research for this song got so deep, I needed an extra week to actually prepare.
Yeah, you took a way deeper dive than I did.
Right. Yeah, let me see what else is, and you know what? In all the work and research I did, it's funny, our opening bit where you're like, no, I didn't listen to the song, I didn't prepare. I don't have any notes. I did all this research, and it's all in these places on my phone because I was having conversations with John Schneck, I was having conversations with John Warren, trying to figure out all these things. I was talking to different people on YouTube, different people that follow us, like Crease, Crees, who follows us on Twitter, and that's the person who uploaded this song to YouTube as a song.
Oh, nice.
It's a whole thing. Now, do you have any top of the show business
before we get into that?
Okay. I guess we are going to be I mentioned it last week, but we're taking a break soon.
Yep.
So I guess we'll have one more.
Yep. One more episode.
Okay. The episode's going to come out right around the time we're getting ready to pack and fly and everything. Yeah. So I hope we get it done in time. If there's just no episode next week, just know we were really busy packing.
No, because then we'll be gone for like 3 weeks instead of 2. We'll be so out of practice when we come back.
Right. We'll see.
And this show needs all the help it can get. Let's face it.
Exactly. Yeah, so, and don't forget, out there, bug Relient K to play Chapstick Chaplips and Things Like Chemistry at the Atlanta show.
Yeah.
Malisaurus17 was tweeting about that, and I helped try to boost that with some retweets and memes and stuff, and Mal, who goes by Mal in the display name, she was like... in chemistry in high school right now, so it would be great. It would be perfect.
Oh, nice.
And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, they play Mood Rings. Yeah. And Mood Rings is so iffy and debated, but Chapstick's a great song, and they don't really play that enough. Like, they've played snippets of it, and they've thrown it into, like, short montages, but they've never really played it in full again. They should play it in full.
Yeah, for sure.
So, hoping for that. Now... This might be one of our shortest episodes ever, but are you ready, Jessica, to get into the zone? Because I got no voicemails, don't really have anything else to talk about. Are you ready to get in the zone?
I'm ready. I wish that our neighbors were ready and not mowing their lawn.
Just
As soon as
imagine.
we start the podcast.
Yeah, this is what happens when we record in the afternoon, especially afternoons on Wednesdays. There's always yard work going on outside. But just imagine that's the motor of a NASCAR race outside, and they're ready to get in the zone. We're recording in the middle of a NASCAR, ring. What do you call that? Track. We're recording in the center section of a NASCAR track.
So, better jingle, AutoZone or O'Reilly? O'Reilly, 100%.
Well, are we considering Relient K's version, or you just mean in general?
I just mean in general.
O'Reilly's is the more catchy.
O'Reilly. Auto parts.
Bow.
It's good
Yeah,
stuff.
but-
Is that regional?
No, I think it's like semi-national.
Okay.
I think they are not in every state. Like AutoZone, I think, is in every state pretty much.
Pep Boys needs to step it up because what's their jingle?
Yeah, I don't know. Peppity boys. Here we come. We're the Peppy boys. And what about Advanced Auto Parts? What do they have?
All right.
Advanced Auto Parts.
So many auto parts stores.
So many cars in the world.
That's true.
So the origin of this song, for as rare and like unknown and under the radar that it is it comes from an episode of the Relient K video podcast. Okay?
Yeah.
So when we decided to
Sorry, I was rubbing my face because I'm like, do you think that they got their like fancy lawnmower parts from an AutoZone? Because like, wow, it's just so loud. Sorry. They could have gotten a muffler from there maybe. Continue.
So, do you remember the Relient K video podcast? Because I did not live with it at the
Yes.
time.
I believe I had, probably still have a couple episodes of it on my iPod video, wherever that is.
Okay.
Yeah. That was around the time that I was like very closely following Relient K.
Gotcha. Yeah, the video podcast, from what I can ascertain, started around the 5-score era.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. Two of the episodes are Schneck and Dave Douglas boxing. So Dave was in the band during the podcast. But the podcast feed stayed up through Forget Not Slow Down, at least, the video podcast feed, because eventually they took the making of documentary for Forget Not Slow Down and chopped it into pieces and released it in the video podcast stream. So the problem for me, before we get deeper into AutoZone, with the whole Relient K podcast thing, and I don't mean us, I mean the actual official the whole problem with having a Relient K podcast.
You always wait until I take a sip of water to say something like that.
It's very confusing if you kind of didn't live it at the time to piece together the existence of the Relient K podcast, the official Relient K podcast from the time of 7 years ago. So they had an actual audio podcast. That's okay. You can yawn. I'm very boring.
I'm so sorry.
Jessica had this look on her face when she yawned, like, oh no, like she farted. She was just like so offended at herself.
Sorry.
So Relient K had an audio podcast for only a couple of episodes. And it was just like them like catching up and letting you know what they're up to. But they didn't like stick with it. I can't tell how many episodes there were. Less than 10, I think. Maybe even less than 5. But there weren't that many. And then at some point, they decided to make it a video podcast. Because video podcasts were a thing back then. And I think that video podcasts were probably bigger before YouTube got bigger. And I don't know who even remembers that this existed. But it used to be like the same RSS feed that you would make to feed into the iTunes store for your podcast. You could just throw a video file into it. And then like when you're downloading, you subscribe to a podcast and you get MP3s. And then suddenly you also get an MP4 and you have a video that you can watch in your podcast feed. I don't think like with Spotify podcasts and iTunes as it is today, Apple Podcasts, I don't think you can put videos into the podcast feed anymore. Maybe you can. I don't know. I don't know what would prevent it. Or maybe just the podcast apps aren't prepared to play video. But it was such a strange thing at the time. Like you want to put out a video to your podcast followers, just put the video in the RSS feed and it gets downloaded with the regular audio podcast. So Relient K creates these video podcasts. And what I found out is that John Schneck actually made most of them. He made like pretty much all of them from the original run of them. Especially, because I've been to John Schneck's website. That's a little outdated. It hasn't been updated in a couple of years, but he advertises that he works on video and stuff. So he was doing this creative outlet of making these videos, these kind of like behind the scenes and sometimes like silly and made up videos for Relient K, and they'd get put to the podcast video stream, and then eventually, so somewhere in there was an episode. I haven't seen it yet. Jessica and I are going to watch it together. Spoiler warning, we found it. Spoiler warning to everything I'm about to say. There's an episode 9, where John Warren and John Schneck go into the studio when they're at the time when they're actually factually recording 5 Score, but in between some stuff, they go into the studio and record the AutoZone jingle.
Nice.
Okay? So, for some reason, that video podcast is not possible to really be found online right now.
Okay.
Like, a bunch of these video podcasts got found by fans, and it's so piecemeal all over the internet. Like, they're uploaded with different names, and different people have them, and sometimes they confuse it with the webisodes that existed with Dave and Brian in the band. Right. At least that had a title that was called Where the Buffalo and Cell Phone Roam, and there were 8 episodes of that, or 6, I don't remember now. But those get mixed up, and then obviously there's the Forget and Not Slow Down documentary getting spliced into pieces and served up as a podcast, so that gets confused into the algorithm of what is a Relient K podcast. Some of the audio podcasts have been uploaded on YouTube, but obviously with a static image because it's just an audio podcast. So it's very difficult to piece together if you kind of didn't live it at the time, or if you're not Relient K and don't specifically remember, to really have a bead on what was the Relient K podcast. So this song, at some point, even though episode 9 disappeared from YouTube, someone snipped out just the AutoZone cover that comes out of the comedy bit that they did in this podcast video episode, and put that on LimeWire and Napster, and put it in these drop boxes and torrents of rare Relient K material. So it's been labeled as a Relient K rarity. And the fact is, from what I can understand, it's Warren singing and it's just John Schneck. Apparently it's just the Johns. So we can kind of debate, is this actually a Relient K song? I Hate Christmas Parties might not actually count as a Relient K song.
Gotcha.
But just I feel like I Hate Christmas Parties is a Relient K song, because yes, on the first time I Hate Christmas Parties was released, it had an asterisk that said this is a Tisa and Earthquake song. But when it got re-released on Let It Snow Baby Let It Reindeer, that caveat did not exist anymore. So it's they were saying, okay, this just is a Relient K song. Out of just exhaustion almost. Or Relient K was just this is just a Relient K song now. Even though it's only Thiessen, and I can't remember if Mark Lee Townsend records a little bit of instruments on there, but I think it's just Thiessen. There are other, BMI Valentine seems to just be Thiessen. That's the Relient K song. So just because every member isn't involved, that's not a reason to say to me that it's not a Relient K song.
Be Your Man is just John and Ethan, isn't it?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that is definitely a Relient K song. So this is just the Johns, but it was made as a joke in the actual studio of 5 Score when 5 Score was being written. It was released on an official Relient K video podcast. So I would consider this to be a lost Relient K rarity. And at some point, like I was saying, the song is snipped out of the video and uploaded to YouTube and bounced around and stuff. So at least that version of the song existed forever. But then, I started bugging John Schneck and John Warren. Well, I started with John Schneck, and I'm like, do you have this video? I see a tweet from you of 2016 saying, I just watched the old AutoZone bit on YouTube again, ha ha ha, so funny, or whatever, right? I'm like, damn, 2016, that's so recent. And it's not recent anymore, but that feels so recent,
right,
for it suddenly to be gone. So I
was about to say it was just 4 years ago. Nope.
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 6 years ago. So
the last 2 years don't count.
Right. So I start DMing Schneck, and he's looking around for it, can't figure it out.
He's so busy, Danny.
I know he's busy, but it's very, very gracious of his time, and I'm never expecting him I don't never feel entitled to his time. If he says, I can't get to this, ask me in a year, I'll say, sure, thank you. Well, he also says check with Warren. So I also check with Warren, and I'm glad I did, because then, Warren confirms some stuff, and I'll read it, that this is, just him. And he tells me why he came up with this idea to record the AutoZone theme song. Although I have not watched the podcast episode that we now have, so we'll watch that together in a little bit.
So this is Warren's brainchild.
This is Warren's brainchild. This is essentially this and Last the Lost the Least are kind of peas in a pod.
Yeah, on my deep dive, Rhyme Zone, that very confusing website that came up previously, came up again. And it just says, ... including John Warren fulfilling his lifelong dream of walking into a room with the AutoZone theme song playing.
Yep. That's what he told me.
That's it. That's the only... Doesn't cite its sources or anything. Just that is just on that website and with a bunch of other things that mention the words theme song.
I'm not sure where the source might be, but here's what John Warren said to me when I asked him about it. I'm like, okay, I'm saying, hey, I'm looking for the video, but also what do you remember of just recording it in general? Even if we don't find the video, we'll still do the episode. So he said, yo. Got a nice yo in there. He said, Schneck asked me about that earlier. I looked for that video as well, but couldn't find it in my limited archives. I'll see if I can dig it up. So we're just having a conversation at this point. So he says the long and the short of it is that I thought it would be funny to have entrance music, like when you walk into a room and the camera goes slow-mo. And the song I wanted as my entrance song was the AutoZone theme song. I always found it hilariously over the top for an auto parts store. So I recorded all the parts in GarageBand while waiting for Dave to finish a drum track during recording of 7 years ago. And then he says, I'll send you a link. And he did. He sent us a link to the song in way better clarity.
Oh, nice.
Which you've already heard. It's the version that we played at the beginning of the episode after the bit. That's a better quality version than has existed on the internet before, as far as I'm aware, because, where it's existed is in the video podcast, which is compressed, especially for 2007. To have a video podcast, the video is very compressed and has that digital waving stuff.
Sure.
And then the version that Crease uploaded to YouTube just comes from that and might have had other bad compression through LimeWire and other transcoding it down into a smaller bit rate and then try and transcode it back up to a better bit rate, which doesn't actually fix anything. That happened all the time. Like when I joined MP3 message boards, they'd be like, do not transcode, do not take like a 96 kilobyte song and then save it as a 320 kilobyte song and then claim you have the song in 320 kilobytes, because you will be banned. Because people would try to do that, right? Like you want the best quality kilobytes in your song, but if you only have a bad one, if you copy it up, you're not finding information. The information is gone from the song when it was saved at a low kilobyte. So it's awesome to have it in a full version now. So he said, not having much luck, unfortunately, in finding the video, which may be a good thing. It's super long and awkward, but here's a link to the MP3. And he sent us a link to the MP3. And then he says, I think I found it, but it's set to private, which is the one where I found... It's the same link that I found Schneck had tweeted in 2016. And then it turned out that is actually Schneck's YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
So it turned out that video was Schneck's YouTube channel, and he set the Relient K video podcast to private at some point, and he wasn't sure why. And I jokingly said to Schneck when we figured this out, like, do you think there's anything cancelable in them?
Oh, Danny.
I was joking. I don't actually think that. I would never think Relient K would have... It was just a joke.
Uh-huh.
Whatever. So... Did
he take it as a joke?
I hope so. I don't know. I don't know. I'll just text him right now. I'll DM him right now. Did you take that as a joke?
Oh, no. So cringy.
So John unlisted the link. And I'm a little up in the air. I'm not clear if he... I couldn't tell if he didn't want it out there, because he's obviously busy, so he couldn't answer, give me every context that I could. Schneck couldn't. Like, Warren gave me a lot more context for the song and stuff. Schneck was very nice with his time to find his old login to this YouTube page and put the video as unlisted so we could see it. Now, if you want to go see it, I'm really unclear if I should share this video or not, since it is currently unlisted. But if you go look for Schneck's tweet, where he talks about the AutoZone clip from the tweet is from 2016, there's the link. So you can go look for it there. I'm unclear if we can actually just go ahead and reshare the video. Let me see. I'm just double checking if John... I have John Warren's DM open here. Oh, and then he gave me... John Warren put a link to his blogs, to his old blog. Like, the whole team, all of Relient K had all these blogs, like blogger blogs, back in the day. So Jessica told me she didn't find these. I found Schneck's. When I couldn't find the video of the episode 9 of the video podcast with the AutoZone bit in it, I went mad, like, doing all these deep searches, right?
Yeah.
Trying to find if anyone had it.
Now, I searched Relient K AutoZone, all one word, as it is, I believe. And then I did a second search with AutoZone, 2 words. And AutoZone as 2 words came up with far less. It was like, it was the shortest deep dive I've ever done. AutoZone as 2 words. You on Reddit asking for anyone to give information on this showed up on the separate one.
So before I got answers back from Schneck and Warren, and I also DM'd Kreese, who had the song on YouTube. Before I got answers from anyone there, I also went on the Reddit, and I made a post of saying can't find... And at this point, actually, I wasn't even 100% sure that it was a video podcast, right? Because the only context that I started this entire search with was the upload of the audio only by Kreese, and I hope I'm saying Kress or Kreese correctly, Crees. The only context I had for this song existing was that upload on YouTube by Kreese. And in the comments, it said, apparently this was from a video podcast from the 5 Score days. Can't believe it sounds so bad. I thought it was from earlier because it's transcoded so badly. So I was like, okay, it's in a video podcast. So I went and I watched every video podcast that was saved on YouTube, and I couldn't find it. I spent so much time watching them and, seeing some of the same ones twice because multiple people have uploaded multiple video podcast episodes multiple times. So to start out, I wasn't even fully convinced it was an episode of the video podcast. I was like, did they make a fun YouTube video separate from the RSS feed of the video podcast once with this AutoZone bit in it? And that's gone. I don't even know at this point. I'm trying to figure this out.
Now I just really want to find my old iPod video because I know that I at one point had those episodes on there.
I think we'll find it. I feel like I've seen it since we've lived in California.
Yeah.
So eventually I did figure out it was an episode of the video podcast because Schneck and Warren confirmed that. Eventually Schneck figures out, oh, this is my YouTube video. I need to deprivatize it or make it unlisted anyway. So now I know it's a video podcast. But before that, I went on Reddit and I said, does anyone know where the video footage of them recording the AutoZone theme is? I'm not looking for the audio-only version. One person replied, here it is, and they posted the audio version again. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. And then I'm like, guys, this is like, Relient K has lost media right now. They have lost, that's really upsetting to think Relient K has lost media.
Right.
Because when you think of, I've been listening to more of Metal Up Your Podcast now, and like Metallica is so meticulously like documented and archived, like nothing they've ever done has been lost.
That's funny.
And everything they've ever done is known of. But to think that there are these things with Relient K that people just aren't paying attention to and can eventually just maybe go away. Like if YouTube ever has a culling of like, unauthorized uploads, then like these videos might just go away. Oof. So it's like upsetting to think that like all of this Relient K material could just be gone. Or things that have only been uploaded to maybe Twitter video and stuff.
Back it up, folks. If you have it, back it up.
There needs to be a proper Relient K archive somewhere.
Yeah,
there was the trademark website, the fan website, and now that's gone.
Ugh,
so
such a bummer.
So here is John Warren's blog.
Nice.
from some date, which I don't know yet.
Yeah,
I'm looking for a
you
date.
must have put in like searches with the members' names and stuff. Now I didn't.
Right.
I just did Relient K. And even though you got John Warren and John Schneck, I got John Schenk, JonSchenk, and their song over on Spotify called Tropics.
That's so funny. That's not how John Schneck spells his name, right? Or it's
No, this is Schenk.
Schenk, John Schenk.
And
they're-
it's a little anime man.
Yeah, their
As their
profile
cover.
photo
Yeah.
on Spotify is a picture of an anime person.
Less than 1,000 listens on this one a month from
17-year-old amateur electronic lo-fi artist from Oregon.
All right, well, there you go. They're a verified artist. One song from 2019, Tropics. It's a single over on Spotify.
I left
It's
my
nice.
iced tea.
It's pretty. It goes like this for a while. Yeah.
We've
John
been
Schenk.
We started recording this whole episode and I realized I left my iced tea over in the counter.
You have iced tea?
Yeah, I picked it up on the way home from work.
Oh, man. Why didn't you bring me an iced tea?
It's just from Wendy's.
Oh, never mind.
It's not from
I don't
anywhere
want
good
that.
like Starbucks
Oh, okay.
or Coffee Bean. So, on April 5th, 2007, if this is the American way in which dates are numbered, and I mean, I know that John Warren is American, but I don't know if blogger.com happens to use the European standard in their dating system. So April or May of 2007, on his blogger site, John Warren wrote, AutoZone. Heck, mother, yes, it opens with. So I guess that's the way you can curse when you're in Relient K. Some of you may know this about me. I've always wanted to have entrance music. You know, like in the movies where some bad dude walks in the room. It goes all slow motion. And out of nowhere comes this awesome rockin' song that makes you respect and fear said bad dude. Yeah, I've always wanted that. And the amazing song I've wanted to announce my entrance is the AutoZone theme song that they play in the commercials. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Something about that song always makes me smile. Maybe it's because it's such overkill for an auto parts store. So last summer, to make this dream into a reality, I started searching the internet for the AutoZone song, which I guess would have been a little harder to do back in 2007.
Yeah,
I bet you
definitely.
AutoZone
Yeah.
didn't have their commercials
Right.
just online somewhere. So my plan was to videotape myself walking into a room, put the footage in my computer, make it slow-mo, and add the song. To my dismay, I couldn't find it anywhere on the interwebs, which like I said, I absolutely believe that in 2007, AutoZone didn't have a YouTube channel.
They didn't have MySpace.
Or a MySpace, and they just didn't have, do you know how Home Depot has their own Spotify profile?
Right.
Like Home Depot is listed as an artist on Spotify, and then you can just hear the Home Depot theme song. Like Home Depot is the artist. Well, that wasn't a possibility back in 2007. So to my dismay, I couldn't find it anywhere on the interwebs. Try as hard as I might, so I deemed it necessary to record the song myself. And I guess the only other option John Warren would have had back then was to just sit up watching TV and look for the auto parts or record television,
Right.
hoping the AutoZone theme song would play. But
And you gotta digitize that and everything.
yeah, then you have to digitize it, exactly. I started with some fake drums in a program called Reason. Once they were to my rockin' specifications,
Nice.
I put guitar to it by plugging straight into my computer. Ooh, a DI, as we learned when we interviewed Ethan Luck. And I added some horrible amp distortion sounds. Bass went the same way. For the vocals, I decided to go the less than DIY route. Since my band was in a recording studio at the time, I took advantage of their nice vocal mic and our friendly engineer Hatch to get some good sounds. John and Dave helped with backup vocals, so Dave's on this track as well. So the only instrumentation is done by Warren. Now we're learning. And the vocals are Warren, Schneck, and Dave. For which I am eternally indebted to them. Whatever they want of my guts, they might take. Thanks, guys. The mix job on the song wasn't exactly stellar, but you get the idea. The song being recorded, John put all the footage together into a podcast, and the result you can see below. My dream is realized. Get in the zone. AutoZone. And then a link, which I don't know if this link is still active. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because he sent us the good quality version. But like a link to like a direct URL to download the MP3 of the song. We have comments from Angela, since I'm guessing we don't have song meetings this week.
Nope.
770 weeks ago. What a way to put that. Angela said, haha, yeah, I saw that on John Schneck's blog a while ago, and I laughed out loud more than a few times. The narration Star Wars part was simply priceless. Sarah, also 770 weeks ago, said, you actually are a dweeb. Victoria said, yeah, I watched that on John's blog, and yes, it's truly amazing, so inspiring that I even ran into an AutoZone and sang the song. Be appreciative, John Warren. Melanie says, I was having a really bad day when I saw this on Schneck's blog, and because they keep writing John, but spelled each John's correct way, but me saying it out loud,
right.
It's hard for anyone to know what I'm saying, so I'll just have to replace the last names. I saw this when it was on Schneck's blog, and it made me laugh out loud a few times. I made my husband watch it. LOL, I love it. And lots of comments. Jennifer said, okay, you are out of your mind, but in a very cool way. John, Warren, you never fail to amuse the crowds. Well, he's something madness of the crowds. Far from the maddening crowd. What's that Ace Troubleshooter album called?
I don't know, but I'm realizing this is why I do the deep dive and read throughs.
Am I not good? The madness of the crowds. John,
You've also been teasing the video like this whole time. It's driving me crazy.
We're going to do it after the break. John, you never fail to amuse the madness of the crowds. I added the madness part to make it a hilarious Ace Troubleshooter joke. I agree with that one poster that said you need to add it to a Relient K set. You, Dave, and John opening up the show, priceless. The Denver cold has warped all our brains, perhaps. See you guys on tour very soon, here in never-endingly sunny Colorado. Blessings, Jen, and lots of 86 comments, so we can't get to them all.
Nice. Well, that's very cool. I'm like super stoked that you found that. These are the kind of things that I want to find all the time, and I just need to go to all of the members that I can find's blogs and every week and just piece out what I can. Like, just sit down. That's what I'll do with our 2 weeks off or whatever. I have to read through everything and
maybe
put it out when I can. Sorry, I looked out the window and it's just orange. It's just very cloudy and like orangey yellow
out. It's blue
out.
at the other
it's
window.
Blue out
it's
the other
orange
window.
on one side of her house and it's blue on the other.
It's very nightmarish. It looks like there's maybe like a dust storm or a tornado just happening in the front.
That is kind of freaky.
Tornado in the front, pretty in the back. I don't know.
Well, I have one more.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I also personally found Schneck's blog, and I actually sent Schneck his blog, and I said, hey, I'm still not finding that video if you have time to unlist it.
Oh, Danny.
No, this isn't, I'm not, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I was having a whole conversation with him for a couple of days trying to find this video.
Danny annoys the members of Relient K so that you don't have to. He's taken one for the team.
This is making me anxious. Do you think they hate me? So I was like, hey, John Schneck, still haven't found that video yet. At this point, I hadn't found the video yet. And I said, but I did find this. And I sent John Schneck a link to his own blog. And he was like, wow, because he hadn't thought about or seen this blog in forever. So on John, and I've come across Teeson's blog at times. I don't know if Hoops and Dave had them, but it seems like a bunch of the members had Blogger or Blogspot blogs to just like keep track of what was going on, or as a way of keeping in touch with the fans, or feeling like the fans could keep in touch with them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Online in a pre-Twitter, pre-MySpace world, or like when MySpace existed, but with more detail. So, as I take a sip of my Wendy's iced tea, on December 1st, 2007, Schneck wrote, "We're famous," meaning we're famous. "I was just informed by my pal Jeff," so this is Schneck writing now.
Yep.
Got it. Sorry. So I was just informed by my... Cool, I also have a pal named Jeff, so I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, jeez.
I was just informed by my pal Jeff that the real... what?
Give me the phone.
No!
Give me the phone.
Here, you read it for frick's sake.
December 1st, 2007. We're famous. I was just informed by my pal Jeff that the real AutoZone guy had replied to our AutoZone podcast featuring John Warren. He quoted, "Hey, the real AutoZone guy here. Yep, I'm the voice of all their national ads. Write and produce all of their music and sing Get in the Zone AutoZone on all of their jingles. We were in the studio with the folks from AutoZone's ad department yesterday, cutting new spots. Went to YouTube to look at different videos and ran across yours. We laughed our asses off. You'll be hearing from my lawyer in the morning. Just kidding. Rock on, Relient K. Good stuff. I'm glad we reached the top with our video. Keep making the jingles, dude, and we'll keep trying to reproduce them. Peace, love, and car commercials. JS." It's good stuff.
Also, you know, the fact that Relient K, even if it involves everyone but the Mats, Relient K having a car commercial themed song deep in their rarities makes sense, because cars are such a consistent, not only from the band's name, but such a consistent theme in the lyrics of Relient K that it really fits. Are you taking a picture of...
Well, I was going to try and get that horrifying orangeness, but I can't. It's not coming up. No.
Yeah, because then the iPhone like converts it to just
exactly
like a yellow. Yeah.
The only other thing I have from my deep dive is AutoZone Yelp reviews for AutoZone in Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay. All right, let's hear it.
Okay. They have a very positive rating. They have 5 stars out of 3 reviews. Yesterday, this is from Seth B. from December 28th, 2018. Yesterday, my family and I were traveling from Indiana to South Carolina, and the check engine light came on in my vehicle. We were about 3 miles from this location, so I stopped by. Michael, the manager, went out of his way to not only diagnose the bad spark plug, but actually changed it out for me on the spot. It was late, and we'd already had a long day of traveling with our 3 kids, and heavy traffic. He was so knowledgeable and helpful. It was truly a blessing to us. I would shop here any day. You guys went above and beyond, and I can't thank you enough.
Wonderful.
It's really nice.
That lightens my mood. That gets me in the zone.
Danielle C. on February 2nd, 2001 said, "Gary helped me so much. I needed new headlights and windshield wiper blades. He had great recommendations with deals, knowing that I couldn't spend too much. He quickly installed the windshield wiper blades and headlights for me. He then checked my oil, and thank goodness he did, because it was extremely low. So we got that taken care of. Before I left, he filled up my wiper fluid and cleaned off my headlights, and it feels so good to have my car in better shape. Thank you, Gary. You rock. Some of the best customer service I've ever had."
Nice.
There's one more, but it's kind of lengthy, so I'll leave it at that.
Well, that's the most important one. They're all good reviews, huh? No bad reviews? Huh? Well, when we come back from the break, then, we will learn all about the AutoZone company by reading the Wikipedia, which I know is what people really want to hear. But we will
There's also a Forbes article about the long road of growth for AutoZone.
You like that? There's a road of growth because they sell parts for cars.
Yes.
And cars go on the road.
And also, to note, the other the very last thing from my deep dive is that we popped up, our Twitter popped up, and that does not happen very often in my deep dive. So that was fun, and we were pretty close to the top. So
nice,
fun stuff.
Nice. We're getting up there in that SEO when you type in Relient K. So you type in
Relient K AutoZone, but you know.
Well, you type in Relient K podcast, you probably get us now, but you don't get all these podcasts that I am trying to put in order. Well, while Jessica goes to look how far up we are in the phrase Relient K podcast, we will take our break. Thank you very much for listening to Sadie Hawkins Pod. If you want to support us, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And you can also interact with the show by calling our voicemail line, 402-95-SADIE.
Check out our Instagram and Twitter, which are both at Sadie Hawkins Pod. There you can see the visuals that we discuss each week, and you can send emails to us at sadiehawkinspod@gmail.com.
Also, sadiehawkinspod.com is your one-stop shop for all our social links and to get to our TeePublic store for shirts, mugs, and stickers of all our various logo designs. Treat yourself to a Sadie Hawkins Pod shirt or confuse a loved one by gifting one to them.
We would also like to thank our patrons at patreon.com/SadieHawkinsPod,
who include Isaac, James, Kindell, Timothy, Daniel, Josh, Jay, Eric, Joel, Connor, Michael, Samantha, Jimmy Eat Pod, This Might Be a Podcast, Tucker, and Brady. Twice a month, we have bonus episodes, including reviews of the songs from K is for Karaoke, and you can hear our backlog of bonus episodes, including reading through the entire complex infrastructure known as the Female Mind book that Relient K did or did not write. You'll have to go over there to find out who wrote it. So donate that money today. What you gonna do? You sitting on that money? You got that stimmy check from years ago? Send it our way. Send it our way.
Send ye our way.
Send ye money our way.
Well, as far as links are concerned, we are not popping up except if you're Googling. So our YouTube for Overthinking comes up.
Okay.
And there's actually a podcast, like, little search result thing that comes up.
The official Relient K podcast feed.
And yeah, we've got the official Relient K podcast feed.
Is that the old audio podcast? 2009 videos, MP4s, or Oh, they're all down. Okay, this must be whatever. Like, we use Podbean, so whatever that is, that must be where they serve their podcast, and the server's still technically up. Well, the RSS directories or whatever you call them are still up, but the actual links to the videos and MP3s are dead now.
Now, as Google has a tendency to do, they put Reddit right at the top. So unfortunately, Reliable J beats us out.
Okay.
Because there's, from 4 years ago, a posting on r/Relient K themed podcast.
We need to post more about ourselves on the Reddit. It'd be really obnoxious.
I feel like you probably might already do that. Maybe enough.
So, before we get to watching the video, John Schneck's video. So I'm not sure if I said this in this podcast or if I said it in our first failed attempt to record this podcast, because we did have like a false start earlier today. But John Schneck himself did all of the video podcasts. I don't think I said that in this version.
Oh, that's really cool.
So John Schneck himself actually filmed and edited and released the video podcast, with a few exceptions. Like the boxing one, he didn't shoot, right? But it was his idea, and someone helped him with it. He told me who it was. I have to go open that DM. But, you know, from the 5 Score era up through when the podcast feed got replaced with clips of the Forget Not Slow Down making of, you know, documentary snippets, it was John Schneck making pretty much all of these video podcasts. So that's pretty cool. Let me double check, since I did read. Oh, right. I said to John Warren before I close his DM, the numbers for the audio podcasts on YouTube are all confused with the video podcasts. And then there's our own SEO, which has screwed up the phrase Relient K podcast. And John Warren said, haha, I bet. And then in quotes, he wrote Relient K podcast, old one, Relient K podcast, not the good one, and Relient K podcast, bad video. So I appreciated that. Yeah, he didn't need to put their podcast down to raise up ours.
Oh, I thought he meant ours was the bad one.
No, I think he meant it the other way.
That's nice of him to say about Reliable J.
Yes, that's very nice of him to say about Josh. So I said, okay. So I said, here we go. So just to go through the DMs I had with John Schneck. Did you make all the early podcasts, or did multiple people make them? John Schneck said, I made them all, meaning all the video podcasts. I said, oh, awesome. I didn't realize that. So I didn't get them at the time, is what I said. And I said, so did you do all the ones with you and Dave boxing? That's the one we've talked about the most on our podcast. And John Schneck said, no, those were shorts that were made during the 5-score release cycle. My friend made those for us, the boxing ones.
Oh, cool.
But they were collaborative. The boxing was my idea, as dumb as it was. And then I said, okay, gotcha. It's hard for me to understand the timeline of the video podcast because they are all uploaded today out of order by various people. And John Schneck said, I made four of them during the recording of 5-score while we were living in LA.
Okay, cool.
And then Ben made a few for the release. And Cale Glendenning made the Forgot documentary and cut that into pieces. So I feel like this is a really kind of like, this is a portion of Relient K history that's being lost, these video podcasts. And somebody needs to piece it all back together. And gosh darn it won't be us. I'm busy enough. So what should we do? Should we do the two things I found that are AutoZone related?
No, I want to see this video.
Okay, so here's the video podcast where it's 6 minutes. So let's just watch the whole thing. Now,
okay.
Of course, this is an audio podcast. I'm not completely sure.
Can we pause and get some popcorn? I'm excited.
I'm not completely sure if it is ethical or cool for us to re-upload these into a public form. But like I said, search John Schneck's...
It's neither ethical nor cool, Danny.
Search John Schneck's Twitter for the phrase AutoZone, and you should find the tweet from 2016 with the link to the unlisted YouTube upload of this. So we actually did take a little pause there and made some popcorn.
Yep.
There it is.
Listen to all those kernels.
So here we go. Here is the video, the Relient K official video podcast, episode 9.
Oh, cute. Got some stop motion action figures going.
So there's some action figures laying on a table, and they're all moving around, spelling out RK.
A hand comes in to show the number 4.
So John Warren just walked in to the room.
So I wanted my entrance music, the walk in the room music, to be Get in the Zone, AutoZone. I've wanted that for quite some time. So for me, this is like making.
It's just John talking to the
I like
camera.
his Fillmore shirt.
Yeah, he's wearing a Fillmore shirt.
Cameras and MacBooks. Oh wait, you're on a what? PowerBook?
The camera shook up and down like yes.
The AutoZone thing that I think I told you guys about. There's hats in the background there. Can't do anything without him interrupting. I'm gonna sing some AutoZone, and it's gonna be glorious.
Nice.
Take us up to the vocal booth. Okay.
So they're walking to the studio. So this is the studio from 5-score.
That's so cool. There's a spiral staircase in there.
I gotta clean this computer screen.
This very low light situation.
We already did Apathetic Way to Be, but they use it as background music for this. So they're up
It's
in the vocal
very
booth.
dark. Yeah, they're up in the vocal booth, and they're like, "Oh, it's so dark," and it very much so is.
I didn't get any
Here
of
we
those
go. Now we're
started
cutting to
off
something new. It says, "Cut to make."
AutoZone! That's great. AutoZone! AutoZone! I gotta turn up real quick my vocals. I'll hit it better than that. Is that why it was so bad? Yeah. Let's take one more of that. Sure.
So from
Get in the zone!
John points better when he sings. It's like the chocolate rain. Like hello.
Oh no!
Choking on popcorn.
So the first set of titles said "Making Dreams Come True," and then it said,
The second set of titles said John sings better when he points because he's pointing at the back of the room while he's going, "Get in the zone!" Like he's pointing at the crowd. But it just reminds me of Chocolate Rain, which would have been around this time. When Tayson Day, he's like, I pull back from the microphone to breathe, and he puts the text on screen to let you know that's what he's doing. We decided to add some gang vocals. It sounded cool once we got the headphones to work.
Well, there's nothing around this. Oh, can we get it up the middle?
So now I guess it's Dave
Or we're right side.
and John and that someone who worked in the studio on Five Score who I can't identify.
The I Dream of Jeannie music might be why they had to set it to private.
Those I Dream of Jeannie people, super litigious.
So weird.
So they're just futzing around trying to get the headphones to work. I don't see what's awkward about this. Like John Warren implied, what's awkward about this?
Still just in the right.
And we've got Dave with them now.
I don't have anything in
I'm kidding, it's kind of awkward. Here's the popcorn.
Really bad singer, by the way. So here's what I said right.
John Schneck just said I'm a really bad singer.
Do a couple of passes with
We don't agree, John.
Alright, here we go. Get in the zone! Oh, I thought it was a repeat.
That was Dave. I think.
We were repeating.
John came in too early or something, or Schneck didn't come in at all. I can't tell what happened wrong. So
I
this
thought
is
that was Dave. It's very pixelated.
yeah, it's very pixelated.
Get in the zone! Get in the zone! Get in the zone!
Now they're listening back to it and they're loving it.
Alright, I think we're good. Alright.
Like, you can tell who Schneck is because he's a little closer to the camera and has short hair.
And the goatee, yeah, the
And the
goatee is the
goatee,
same.
Cool. Think you can make the record possible?
Yeah, definitely.
Alright.
It's gonna be million platinum.
Now they're at a computer listening to the... I don't...
Hatch tries desperately to find a vocal harmony. Still can't quite find that harmony, Hatch.
So Hatch is
The engineer.
engineer, and he's just trying to find some extra melody, I guess, harmony. Now they're just more at the computer listening to it. And Warren's looking, he's like, yeah. Oh, there's Thiessen.
Get there.
Okay, hold on.
What's your take on this?
I talked over Thiessen.
Cool. Gotta get there.
Gotta get there.
what's your take on this? That's great.
So they didn't successfully keep this a secret from Thiessen. I'm sure they got billed by Relient K LLC for their time, for their use of the studio during their 5 Score time.
To hear this, we're talking about lifelong dreams here. Oh yeah, I've always wanted to walk into a room with Get in the Zone, AutoZone playing, and this will help facilitate that dream.
In a world full of the silence of opening doors, the silence of rooms being entered
Fantastic.
with no fanfare, one man dared to dream.
So this is just text scrolling up on black background.
It's good stuff.
And I guess it must be Schneck doing this voice reading it.
Little Johnny Warren entered this world with thunder in his fist and a song in his heart. He screamed the song of defiance, of liberty, of the human dignity that unites us all. His mission was simple yet visionary. Enter every room to the timeless refrain of the most glorious anthem. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
We proudly present...
April.
April's excited. AutoZone. It just says simply in the title. Simply. And now it's just slow-mo footage of Warren.
Walking through the door. Nice. It is very dramatic. Footage is in black and white. It's good stuff.
And now it's the end credits. AutoZone, produced by Hatch and John Warren. Filmed by John Schneck. Edited by John Schneck. Cameo by Matt Thiessen. For more podcasts, blogs, Woodland Forest episodes, which is another thing we've never done on this show. Episodes, tour dates, and news. Go to ReliantK.com. Copyright 2006, Relient K. Actually, there was nothing awkward. Oh.
That's super fun.
Nothing cancelable in it. Maybe John Schneck just made it unlisted or private on his YouTube channel because his YouTube channel is probably more specifically professional to him as opposed to being about Relient K silliness of the time.
Right.
He couldn't quite remember why he did, but now I'm just thinking maybe that's why he made it unlisted. So I feel like we covered it pretty well. Did we talk about in this version of the podcast, or was this in the first failed section, about all the other auto stores? We talked about the O'Reilly theme song.
Yeah.
And Pep Boys don't have a theme song.
Yep.
And Advanced Auto Parts don't have a theme song.
Right.
There's Car Quest.
Oh.
Car Quest is one. They're a little bit national. What other national chains of car Jessica's just enjoying her popcorn. Forget that. Anyway, we'll end on this.
Okay.
AutoZone Incorporated is an American retailer of aftermarket automotive parts and accessories and is the largest in the United States. Founded in 1979, the year the Smashing Pumpkins hit single 1979 was released, AutoZone has over 6,400 stores across the United States, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Brazil, and the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, wow.
The company is based in Memphis, Tennessee. History. In the 1970s, originally a division of Memphis-based wholesale grocer Malone and Hyde, the company was known
what else
as
is based
Auto
in
Shack.
Memphis? The firm.
Hitler.
What?
I was trying to say Elvis. And I said Hitler.
What? I can see how you'd get the two confused.
No one can see how I'd get them confused. It's not a matter of why would I confuse Hitler and Elvis. It's just my brain reaches for the syllables and it finds some other syllables. So I said,
Don't worry, folks. That's okay. We're getting Dan to a neurologist.
yeah.
Everything will be all right soon.
So, now I don't feel like reading about the AutoZone anymore. Oh well. How you feeling, Jess? How's that popcorn doing you?
It's real good.
That's
Good
good.
stuff.
That's nice. So I guess this is a short episode. Short, to the point.
It's
Talking
still
about
like
AutoZone.
an hour long.
It's still like an hour long or
Yeah.
so. But it is what it is. And AutoZone. So how do you feel, Jessica? Now, I know you didn't know this song existed before.
Yeah.
But how do you feel? I guess you'll have to put it in some other context. But how did you feel about the AutoZone jingle before we did this podcast? And how do you feel about it now, knowing that Relient K has this little cover?
Well, I certainly didn't think it was an O'Reilly Auto Parts or a whatever you would call the melody to the Home Depot theme, but it existed, it was out there, and I definitely like it more now.
Good. I have something to actually end on. You reminded me when you mentioned O'Reilly.
Okay.
So I'm glad you remember. I'm glad you like it more now. I feel the same way. I never really thought about the AutoZone theme.
Yeah.
I guess it always made sense for it to be so so boisterous, so like over the top, because like cars rock.
Right.
Cars are fast, like Fast and the Furious. So it kind of made sense to me that like
American muscle.
Detroit Steel, like all those things. So just like a kick-ass American song, get in the zone, AutoZone. It makes total sense to me. But we'll end on this.
I don't know that Detroit's known for its steel, but it is known for its cars. So
Well, that's kind of what I meant. Where's the steel come from? I don't know.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. So here is an upload by Aiden James, and this is a TikTok that has been reposted to YouTube, and it is So I guess this TikToker, Aiden James, got a request from one of his followers, and it says, play the O'Reilly song at an AutoZone. So he has a guitar, and he's standing in an AutoZone parking lot, and he's going to go into the AutoZone and play the O'Reilly theme song.
This is some nonsense you would do. You and this guy could become best friends.
So he's walking into the AutoZone with his mask on, because this is...
Excuse me, sir. Do you recognize this jingle?
And his guitar. These people are just trying to do their work.
So he walks in. So he just walks in, goes up to the first employee. He's holding the guitar. Goes up to the first employee. He says, "Excuse me, do you recognize this jingle?" And before he can even play a lick, the guy goes, "This isn't the place for that," and walks away. And he's just like, "Oh, okay." Well, first of all, he's wearing his mask wrong. He's wearing it under his nose. So I would put him on the pay no mind list as well.
All right, we're going to a different AutoZone.
O'Reilly.
Yeah, they told me to send you guys a message.
You got to do the jingle for AutoZone, not O'Reilly.
Yeah.
This is so awkward.
Yeah.
I would do.
I was having fun before, Danny.
Nobody wants to walk into the room to the O'Reilly jingle. Some random customer just went, "You should be playing the AutoZone jingle, not the O'Reilly jingle."
I thought that was the person behind the counter.
No, it was just a customer. It was like you're on.
This is the problem with TikTok and stuff. Everybody's like, "Look, I can go do the jackass thing now. I can do that."
So I have to say that warned us, pun fully intended. Warned us that the podcast number 9 with the AutoZone saga would be awkward and everything. It wasn't. It was totally cute and fun, and there was no
Super
weird
adorable.
awkwardness to it.
Yeah, loved it.
This TikTok is awkward as hell.
Yeah.
O'Reilly.
This is so bad. This isn't even good. He's like not even committing to it.
Figure out the AutoZone one.
He's not even committing to it. He just goes in. He's like,
Play the O'Reilly theme.
I would go in if I was assigned to that and I could play guitar. I would go in and I'd be like, "Hey, you guys know this? Hey, you know this song, O'Reilly?" And then they call the police and tackle me because I'd be like coming in with aggressive energy and they wouldn't know what to think of me.
Oh no. All right. Well, Dan, do you like the song more or less or the same?
I like it a lot more, as a matter of fact.
All right. Well, we're gonna go enjoy our popcorn. If you have access to any of these podcast episodes, not ours, the Relient K ones, the ones you actually want to see.
Nobody's worried
and
about
listen to,
ours being
yeah.
archived. If they disappeared from the internet, no one would be like, "What happened?"
Yeah, hit us up.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.